Welcome back. In our last two lessons, I mentioned that both our components, base input and base select, have been magically getting imported without having to use an import statement or a global import. In this lesson, we will take a look at why. Often in Vue projects, we create collections of components, such as these two, that are the building blocks for other components that are usually more complex. In our case, we're creating a collection of components that is going to be used to create forms. Manually importing each one by using app.component can very quickly get really tedious. Luckily for us, there's a way to do this automatically. Let's navigate now to the main.js file of our project and take a look at what's happening in there together. First, we import create app from Vue in order to create and later mount our application. We also import the app.vue component to set it as the entry point of our application. Please note that this is not specific for auto-importing components, but part of the process for creating and mounting our Vue 3 application. Finally, we import upperFirst and CamelCase from Lodash, a JavaScript library that provides utility functions for common programming tasks. Uppercase converts the first character of a string to uppercase. In this example, base-input turns into base-input, but with a capital B. CamelCase converts a string to CamelCase. In this example, we can see that base-input with a capital B gets turned into base-input with a capital B and a capital I, and the dash is removed. To actually be able to use Lodash in our project, we first need to add it to our application. Please open up a terminal and run the following command on your project root. This will add Lodash to your package.json file and install the dependency files in your Node modules folder. Next up, we use Webpack's function require.context to allow Webpack to know that it needs to require all of the files in the components folder that starts with the base prefix. Notice that we are also allowing it to require both .vue and .js extensions. Next, we create our Vue application by calling create app with our app.vue component reference and store it in an app constant so that we can reference our app context later. Further down into the code, we're going to call the keys function on our require component to get an array of file names, which will contain the root to each of our base components. In our case, the keys function will return this array containing the base input and base select paths. We are going to loop through each of our components in this array. Ready? First, we get the component object by using the file name to extract it from the array. Next, we will use Lodash's upperFirst and CamelCase functions along with a regular expression to parse our file names. The regular expression here will strip anything before the component name and the extension, leaving us with just the name of the component, base input. As you can see in the example above, even this ./base-input.vue will get parsed into base input. The regular expression here will strip anything before the component name and the extension. Next, we will use the CamelCase function to strip out any dashes and turn it into a CamelCase. We will use upperFirst to turn the first character into an uppercase character. Finally, we use the component name that we just extracted and the component configuration that we got earlier to register the component as a global component. We wrap up the file by mounting our application into the element with an ID of app. This bit of code may seem daunting at first, but once you add it to your application, you can forget about it and let it do its work of auto-importing your base components for you. It is just important that you understand what it's doing and what are the benefits of bringing in automatic component registration. In our next lesson, we will keep on building our form components, this time the base checkbox. See you there! We're building a collection of components. In our case, we'll be... Stop looking at me. Please note that this is not specific. Please note, but it's one of those kind of things where you kind of drop it